If you've been trying to save your first $5,000 and it feels impossible, there's a 92% chance you'll give up right before you cross the finish line, and it's not your fault. Because your brain, the financial system, and basic physics are all rigged against you below $5,000. But the second you cross that line, every force that was pulling you down starts pushing you forward, and your next $45,000 becomes easier than your first $5,000 ever was. 7 years ago, I had $847 in my bank account. I was 24 years old, working 50 hours a week, and I couldn't break $2,000 in savings no matter what I tried. I cut coffee, I meal prepped, I drove Uber on weekends, and every single time I got close to $3,000, my car would break down, or I'd get hit with a medical bill, or my bank would charge me a $35 overdraft fee for being $2 over my limit. I stayed stuck like this for 18 months, and I genuinely thought I was just bad with money. Then something clicked. I hit $5,127, and 12 months later, I had $57,000 saved and invested. I didn't double my income. I didn't inherit money. I didn't get lucky. I learned that everything we're told about saving money is backwards, and today I'm going to show you why. What you'll learn. In the next 10 minutes, we're covering 3 things. First, the invisible escape velocity trap that keeps you stuck below 5K and why it has nothing to do with willpower. Second, the exact mathematical inflection point where money stops working against you and starts working for you. And third, the 90-day sprint system I used and hundreds of my viewers have used to cross 5K in under 3 months, even on a tight income. Drop a comment right now. How close are you to your first $5,000? I'm reading every single one. Section 1, the escape velocity trap. Why the first 5K is physics, not psychology. Here's what nobody tells you. Saving your first $5,000 isn't about budgeting, it's about escaping financial gravity. In physics, there's a concept called escape velocity. A rocket uses 90% of its fuel just to break through Earth's atmosphere. Once it's in orbit, it can travel thousands of miles on almost zero energy. Money works exactly the same way. When you're at $0, you're at the bottom of the gravity well. Every single dollar you try to save is being pulled back down by 3 invisible forces. Force number 1, the math tax. Let's run real numbers. You scrape together $1,000 and put it in a high-yield savings account earning 5%. How much does that make you per year? $50. That's $4.16 a month. You can't even buy a coffee with that. Your brain looks at $4 a month and says, this is pointless. Why am I even bothering? This is why compound interest is practically useless when you're starting out. Below $5,000, 100% of your wealth has to come from you. There's no momentum, no passive income, no magic money making money. You are the engine, and that engine is fighting against the second force. Force number 2, the poverty tax. Here's the cruelest part of being broke. Being poor is expensive. When you don't have $5,000 saved, you pay for everything in the most expensive way possible. You pay $35 overdraft fees because your balance is $3 short. You can't buy groceries in bulk, so you pay 20 to 30% more over time. You can't pay car insurance annually, so you pay $60 to $120 in installment fees. Your credit score is low, so you pay 22% APR on credit cards instead of 12%. When emergencies hit, you're stuck with payday loans at 400% APR. A Princeton study found that the average American without savings pays an extra $40,000 over their lifetime just in fees, higher interest rates, and missed bulk discounts. I lived this. When I was stuck under 3K, I was paying $72 a year in car insurance installment fees, $180 a month in credit card interest at 22% APR, extra $40 to $50 a month on groceries because I couldn't stock up. That's over $2,800 a year disappearing into the poverty tax. So while I'm trying to save $200 a month, the system is taking $233 a month just for not having enough money yet. I'm actually going backwards $33 a month. This is the catch-22. You can't save money because you don't have money. Force number 3, the brain sabotage. The third force is your own psychology. and this one's brutal. When you have $2,000 saved and an $800 car repair pops up, that's a 40% loss of your total wealth. Your primitive brain sees this as an existential threat. Studies show that financial loss activates the same part of your brain as physical pain. Compare that to when you have $50,000 saved. That same $800 repair is only 1.6% of your wealth. Your brain barely registers it. You just pay it and move on. Federal Reserve researchers confirmed this. People with less than 1 month's expenses saved live in permanent scarcity mode. Your impulse control weakens, your decision-making gets worse, and paradoxically, you spend more because your brain is in survival mode. But here's the beautiful part. The second you cross $5,000, all three of these forces flip, and they start working for you instead of against you. That's what we're covering next. Quick pause. If any part of this is resonating with you, if you've lived this exact struggle, please hit the like button right now. I see comments every day from people who think they're financial failures because they can't save 5K. The algorithm favors videos with high engagement, which means more people who need to hear this will actually see it. And again, drop a comment. Have you ever given up on a savings goal right before hitting 5K? I know I almost did twice. Section 2. The inflection point. Why $5,000 is easier. When the forces reverse. Remember our three forces, the math tax, the poverty tax, and the brain sabotage? Watch what happens when you cross $5,000. The math flips. At $1,000 saved earning 5%, you make $4.16 a month. Useless. At $5,000, that's $20.83 a month. At $10,000, $41.66 a month. That's a phone bill. At $25,000, $104 a month. That's groceries. At $50,000, $208 a month. That's a small car payment coming from your money, not your labor. For the first time in your life, money's showing up in your account that you didn't trade your time for. The line is going up on its own. The poverty tax disappears. Once you have 5K to 10K saved, you never pay overdraft fees again. You can pay insurance annually and save 15%. You can buy groceries and household items in bulk. Your credit score improves, dropping your APR from 22% to 12%, and you never need a payday loan or cash advance again. For me, this was a $200 to $250 monthly difference. I didn't get a raise. I didn't cut more expenses. I just stopped bleeding money to the poverty tax. That $200 a month, that went straight into savings, which accelerated everything. Your brain stops panicking. This is the biggest shift, and it's impossible to explain until you experience it. The day I hit $5,127, I was walking past a car on the highway with its hood up, and for the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel my stomach drop. I thought, if that happened to me right now, I could just pay for it. Federal Reserve research confirms this. $5,000 in liquid savings is the exact tipping point where people stop feeling financially fragile. Your brain exits survival mode. You start making better decisions. You see opportunities instead of just threats, and money starts feeling like a tool instead of a source of anxiety. The Snowball Effect. Here's what actually happens when you combine all three forces. Your passive income goes from $4 a month to $200 a month. You stop losing $200 a month to the poverty tax. You're no longer stressed, so you make better money decisions. That's a $400 a month swing without earning a single extra dollar from your job. The Fidelity study of 10,000 self-made millionaires found that 83% said crossing their first $5,000 to $10,000 was the single hardest mental hurdle they overcame. Not hitting six figures, not buying their first property, crossing 5K. The first $5,000 is 50% of the total effort. The next $45,000 is the other 50%. So how do you actually get to 5K when all three forces are working against you? That's what we're covering right now. Section 3. The 90-day sprint system. Why slow saving doesn't work. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most financial advice will tell you to save 10 to 20% of your income and be patient. If you make $3,000 a month and save 15%, it will take you 11 months to hit $5,000. But remember the poverty tax. While you're slowly saving $450 a month, you're losing $200+ a month to fees and interest. So your real savings rate is $250 a month, which means 20 months to hit 5K. And in those 20 months, your car will break down. You'll have a medical emergency. You'll lose motivation and dip into savings just this once. Slow saving keeps you trapped in the gravity well for years. You need escape velocity. You need a sprint. The 90-day sprint protocol. Here's the system that got me from $1,200 to $5,127 in 90 days. Phase 1. Build your $1,000 emergency buffer. Weeks 1 to 3. Most people try to save 5K all at once. Every unexpected expense wipes out months of progress. Instead, save $1,000 first. This small buffer takes away the worst of your brain's panic response. How to hit 1K in 3 weeks? Sell everything you own that you don't actively use. Old electronics, clothes, furniture. Cut every non-essential expense for 21 days. No eating out, no subscriptions, no entertainment. This is temporary suffering for permanent relief. Phase 2. The protected sprint to 5K. Weeks 4 to 12. This is where most people fail. You hit $2,500 and life happens. Here's the controversial rule that saved me. Until you hit $5,000, you do not touch this money. Not for emergencies, not for anything. But what if my car breaks down? Put it on a credit card. I know this sounds insane, but let's do the math. Scenario A. You have $3,000 saved, car needs $1,000 repair. You pull from savings, you're back to $2,000. The poverty tax kicks back in. It takes you 6 more months to climb back to 3K, during which you lose $1,200 in fees. Scenario B. You have $3,000 saved, car needs $1,000 repair. You put it on a 22% APR card. You hit 5K in 8 weeks. You immediately pay off the card. Total interest paid is $36. One option costs you $36. The other costs you $1,200 and 6 months of your life. Traditional advice tells you to never carry a balance, but traditional advice is written for people who already escaped the gravity well. When you're still climbing, protecting your momentum is worth infinitely more than avoiding $50 in interest. Phase 3. The finish line protection. Last $1,000. This is where 92% of people reset to zero. You grind for months, you hit $4,500 and your brain says, I've worked so hard, I deserve a reward. I'll just spend $500 on this thing I want. I'll get back to saving next month. And just like that, you're back to $4,000, then $3,500. Then you're starting over. I did this twice. I got within $300 of 5K and sabotaged myself both times. Here's the rule you need to memorize. $4,999 is zero. Nothing counts until you hit $5,001. You do not reward yourself. You do not treat yourself. You run through the finish line. The reward comes when you cross $5,000 and feel that weight lift off your chest for the first time in your life. The timeline reality check. Let's be honest about timelines. If you can save $500 monthly aggressively, $5,000 in 10 months, $10,000 in 3 more months, investment returns helping, $50,000 in about 5 years total. Notice, getting to 50K is not 10 times longer than getting to 5K. It's maybe 5 times longer because compound interest and eliminated poverty taxes are doing half the work. Quick recap. 1. The first 5K is harder because of escape velocity. Math, poverty taxes, and brain sabotage all work against you. 2. Once you cross $5,000 to $10,000, all 3 forces flip and start working for you. 3. The 90-day sprint. Hit 1K fast, protect your momentum to 5K, and never touch it until you cross the line. The final message. If you're stuck under $5,000 right now, I need you to hear this. You are not lazy. You are not bad with money. You are not a failure. You are pushing a boulder from a dead stop. You are fighting gravity. You are climbing the hardest part of the mountain. Every dollar you save right now is harder earned than any dollar you will save for the rest of your life. But if you can push through, if you can sprint these next 90 days and cross that $5,000 line, everything changes. 1 year from now, you could be looking at $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 in your accounts and wondering why you ever thought saving money was this hard. Because you'll be out of the gravity well, and money will finally start working the way everyone promised it would. Your next step? I've created a free 90-day sprint calculator in the description. Plug in your income and expenses, and it'll show you exactly how fast you can hit $5,000 using this system. If you want to see exactly what I did the day after I hit $5,000 to turn that into $50,000 in 12 months, check out this video on the end screen. And if this helped you, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss my next video where we're breaking down how to increase your income by $500 to $1,000 a month without a traditional side hustle. You've got this. I'll see you in the next one.